You have probably heard the famous Rasputin song at some point. It's played everywhere, parties, reels, memes, everywhere. But the real man behind that song? His story was far darker, far stranger, and honestly, almost unbelievable. Because Grigory Rasputin wasn't just some random historical figure. At one point, powerful people across Russia genuinely believed this man was destroying the entire empire. And the craziest part? He started as a poor, uneducated peasant from a freezing Siberian village. No royal blood, no political power, no military, nothing. And yet somehow, he became one of the most feared men in Russia. This is the story of Rasputin, the man many believed was impossible to kill. In the late 1800s, deep inside Siberia, Rasputin was born into a poor peasant family. From the beginning, people around him thought there was something strange about him. Some described him as deeply spiritual. Others thought he was disturbing. He had piercing eyes, unpredictable behavior, and an unusual ability to make people listen to him. And as he grew older, Rasputin became obsessed with religion. Not in a calm, peaceful way, in an intense way. He abandoned normal life and began wandering across Russia as a self-proclaimed holy man. For years, he traveled from village to village, praying, preaching, and building a reputation. Some people believed he could heal the sick. Others thought he was a complete fraud. But one thing was undeniable. People remembered him. And eventually, rumors about this mysterious Siberian mystic reached the Russian capital, St. Petersburg. At the time, Russia was being ruled by Nicholas II and his wife Alexandra Fyodorovna. From the outside, they looked powerful. But inside the palace, the royal family was hiding a terrifying secret. Their young son, Alexei, was suffering from hemophilia. Even a small injury could cause unstoppable bleeding. And during attacks, the royal family would panic because doctors could do almost nothing to save him. The future heir to the Russian Empire was slowly dying. Then Rasputin arrived, and suddenly everything changed. Somehow, whenever Rasputin prayed for Alexei, the boy's condition seemed to improve. Nobody could fully explain it, but to the royal family, it felt like a miracle. And from that day on, Alexandra became emotionally dependent on Rasputin. Because once Rasputin entered the royal palace, he never truly left. Soon, this dirty looking Siberian mystic was walking through the halls of the most powerful family in Russia. And people were horrified. Nobles hated him. Priests hated him. Politicians hated him. Nobody understood why the royal family trusted this man so much. And slowly, rumors about Rasputin began spreading across the country. People claimed he manipulated the queen. People claimed he controlled government decisions. Some even believed he was having secret affairs inside the palace. True or not, the damage was already done. The Russian Empire was beginning to rot from the inside, and Rasputin became the face of that decay. Newspapers described him like a monster. Cartoons mocked him. Whispers spread through the streets of Russia. People no longer saw him as a holy man. To many, he felt like a curse hanging over the empire. But the strangest thing, the more people hated Rasputin, the more powerful he seemed to become. And that terrified the Russian elite. Because by now, Russia itself was collapsing. The country was suffering. The people were angry. The government was failing. And many powerful men became convinced of one thing. If Rasputin stayed alive, Russia itself might not survive. So they decided to remove him permanently. In December 1916, a group of aristocrats invited Rasputin to a palace late at night. It looked like a normal gathering, but hidden inside the food and wine was poison. The plan was simple: feed him, wait for the poison to work, and end the nightmare quietly. But according to the men involved, something went horribly wrong. Rasputin ate the poisoned food. Nothing happened. He drank the poisoned wine. Still nothing. At first, the conspirators were confused. Then they became nervous. Then terrified. Because a man they believed would die in minutes was still sitting there, smiling. The atmosphere inside the palace began changing. Panic spread, and finally one of the conspirators pulled out a gun and shot Rasputin. At last, they thought it was over. But according to the famous story, it wasn't. Moments later, Rasputin allegedly opened his eyes again and started moving. The men panicked. More shots were fired. Chaos erupted inside the palace. And in the freezing night of December, Rasputin supposedly tried to escape. Eventually, his body was dumped into the icy river, and just like that, the most feared man in Russia was gone. Or at least, that's the version of the story people remember. Because over time, Rasputin's death became surrounded by myth. Some historians today believe many parts of the assassination story was exaggerated, especially the idea that poison had no effect on him. But honestly, by that point, the myth had already become bigger than the man himself. Rasputin stopped feeling human to people. He became something else. A symbol, a warning. A nightmare attached to the final days of the Russian Empire. And strangely enough, only a few months after Rasputin's death, the Russian royal family itself collapsed. The empire fell, the monarchy ended, and Romanov dynasty disappeared forever, which only made Rasputin seem even more mysterious in hindsight. Almost like his presence had become tied to the fear of the empire itself. More than 100 years later, people still argue about who Rasputin really was. A healer, a manipulator, a fraud, a political scapegoat, or simply a deeply charismatic man who entered the right palace at exactly the right moment in history. Maybe that's why his story never truly died. Because Rasputin exists somewhere between history and legend. And honestly, that's exactly where he became immortal.